Um, Now, welcome to our studies for today, and I'm your tutor, Ison Mensa Abam Emmanuel. You can call me Nakwa Ima. I'm your tutor for today. Now, today we're going to discuss something about a minor word class. Now, we've already begun, or we have already learned something about word classes. And we say when we talk about a word class, we are referring to the grammatical unit of which those words belongs to. So we just looked at the various word classes, that is the part of speech. We have done with the major ones. That is where we saw that we have something called nouns, we have adjectives, we have verbs, and then adverbs. And so we are moving on to look something under minor word classes. Now, let's begin with it. Today, our topic for discussion is going to rely basically on conjunctions. So when we say a conjunction, what is meant by a conjunction? Now, we said a conjunction is the grammatical relation between linguistic units or grammatical units, that is words, phrases, clauses that are connected together. So when we say conjunction, the various grammatical units that are connected together. Now we also say that conjunction is a minor word class that links or joins one grammatical unit to the other. It's simple. So when we pick our various minor word classes, so the one that we look at is conjunction, and they are also known as linking words. So words that link one grammatical unit to the other is what we'll term as conjunctions. Right, let's move on to the types of conjunctions. Now, we said basically there are three types of conjunctions. These are coordinators or coordinating conjunctions. You have something called correlative conjunctions and then subordinative conjunctions. Let's begin to pick them one after the other and look at. So let's look at the coordinators or coordinative conjunctions. Right, we said when we talk about coordinative conjunctions or coordinators, we said that is a conjunction which links word, phrases, clauses of equal grammatical status together. So words that link words or grammatical unit of the same rank together is what we call as coordinators. So we say this means that coordinator link a noun to a noun, verb to a verb, an adjective to adjective. It's simple. So when you take the first example, is that at the market, Mensa bought some pepper, tomatoes, cabbage, and so Mensa bought some pepper, tomatoes, and cabbage. That is for the conjunction. And then the coordinator that links these various items together is the end. And you can see that end is underlined. Now we are adding salt to the list of items that were purchased by Mensa at the market. Now let's see. They said that the word salt is a noun, and so the coordinator and links it to the list, which means that all the listed items are nouns, and hence salt as a noun can be linked to them. As simple as ABCD. Because salt is also a noun, we can then add it to the various list of items that belongs to the noun class. Good. Now the second example, the little girl reads, speaks, and writes well. The little girl reads, speaks, and writes well. Here, all the deepened words are verbs. So the words that are deepened there are verbs. So that is you have reads, then speak, and therefore it is very necessary to join a verb to it. And so the linking word or the coordinator there is your end, and the end is adding the other verb, which is write, to the various verbs that are listed in there. So that's writes is also being added to the various words that were described earlier. So hope it is clear. Let's move on to the third example. The weather is fine, but people do not want to go out. The weather is fine, but people do not want to go out. So that is that. So I think it is clear. Now it says, let's come back to the down one. So these sentences are made of two independent clauses. 1, the weather is fine. Then 2, people do not want to go out. They are all independent clauses, and they make a complete meaning. Let's see. Therefore, the coordinator but is linking the two independent clauses, which is of the same grammatical status, that is clauses. Because they are all independent clauses, we use the but as a coordinator to join those two sentences together. Hope it is clear. Okay, let's move on to the next example. Now we say basically there are 3 coordinators, or there are 7 coordinators or coordinative conjunctions, which can easily be remembered by the acronym FANBOYS. So when you take the FANBOYS, you can see that we have splitted them. The FANBOYS, the F stand for for, then A stand for and, no, by, but, or, yet, and so. So let's begin to take them one after the other and explain them. Good. Now let's look at the details about the FANBOYS. The F, that is for. We said that the for means because. So whenever you see for in the sentence, you can place the because, and it will make a complete meaning. So whenever you see for in a sentence, it means that the for is talking about because. Example, we have number 1, the farmers lie down to rest, for they were tired. And we said for means because. So you could say that the farmers lie down to rest because they were tired. Hope it is clear. The second example says, Zacchaeus climbed the tree, for he was a short man. So in other words, Zacchaeus climbed the tree because he was a short man. So the two words, that is the for, the coordinator is joining these two sentences together. The farmers lay down to rest. That is the first sentence. They were tired. It's also another sentence. So we have these two sentences being joined together by a coordinator, that is the for. The second one is and, and we say and means addition. So if you are saying something and you want to add another one to it, you say and. Now let's look at some examples. We have example 1. Pray continuously and read the scriptures. Pray continuously and read the scriptures. So we say it means that additionally. So we say pray continuously, addition, read the scriptures. It's clear. Now the prophet has built a house and bought a new bus for the congregation. So whatever you see the end is simply referring to addition. So the prophet has built a house, addition bought. So addition bought a new bus for the congregation. Hope it is clear. Good. Let's also see no. We said that now introduces a second negation to the first. So whenever you are seeing anything, whenever you are giving any question or anything under discussion and you see a first statement comes then followed by no, it means that the no is a second negation to the first one. So let's look at examples. We have the children do not have parent, nor do they have guidance. The children do not have parent, nor do they have guidance. So that is a second negation to the first one. The children do not have parent. So do not have guidance, nor do not have guidance is telling us that the first negation and the second negation, the first one is a second negation of the first one. So let's take the example 2. I don't know the chief palace, nor my brothers. So it's a second negation to the first one. The first one, I do not know the chief palace, nor my brothers. So it means that both of us do not know the chief palace. Hope it is clear. Right. The fourth example is but and yet. But and yet. That is the B and Y in the fanboys. And we say that they indicate contrast. That is differences. So the first example is the journey was long, yet it was interesting. So although the journey was long, yet it was interesting. The journey was long, but it was interesting. So you could see, we said that it indicates a contrast or differences. Although because the journey was long, although the journey was also interesting. So if we are complaining about a negative aspect and you say yet, it means that there is a positive something there. Hope it is clear. Good. Now let's move on to the next one. That is all. Now, you said that all is used to indicate choice. So whenever you see or in a sentence or in any given item, it means that you are to decide what to go for. So let's look at examples. Will you keep quiet or you will leave the room? Will you keep quiet or you will leave the room? So the or there is a coordinator that joins the two sentences. Will you keep quiet? You will leave the room. So you say it is a choice. So the decision is yours whether to keep quiet or to walk out of the room. The second example, you can decide to buy the form from the school. You can decide to buy the form from the school premises or buy it online. So the decision is yours whether to buy the form from the school premises or to buy it online. The next conjunction, that is under the subordinative conjunction, under the coordinative conjunction, is so, that is the S in the fanboys. We said also is used to indicate results. So whenever you see so, it means that it's an outcome of something. Examples: it rained heavily, so the wall collapsed. It rained heavily, so the wall collapsed. Meaning, the wall collapsed as a result of the heavy rain. So, as we said, that so is used to indicate results because of the heavy rain. That is why the wall collapsed. The second example is there was no fuel to run the engine. There was no fuel to run the engine, so we rode bicycles instead. That is the result. Because there was no fuel in the engine, we decided to ride a bicycle. It's simple as ABCD. Hope it is clear. Good. Now, let's look at correlative conjunctions. So that these are words or they are conjunctions that are used in pairs to join grammatical units together. These are conjunctions that are used in pairs to join grammatical units together. So some examples of such conjunctions include either, or. Then we also have neither nor, not only but also, whether or, just as, so, then etc. That is the correlative conjunction. We say they are used in pairs to join grammatical units. So let's see some examples. Either the rain has stopped, or the tap has ceased flowing. Either the rain has stopped, or the tap has ceased flowing. That is the first one. Then we have neither the teacher explained the concept nor helped the student to solve the problem. Neither has the teacher explained the concept nor helped the student to solve the problem. So the neither and the nor is what we term as the correlative conjunction. We say they are using pairs to join them. Then not only is the crew made up of engineers, but they are also excellent physicians. Not only is the crew made up of engineers, but they are also made up of physicians. Good. The third conjunction is the subordinated or subordinative conjunction. So as you hear the name subordinator, so it means that these are conjunctions that link or connect two clauses of unequal importance. In other words, subordinators link subordinate clauses to main clauses. It's simple as ABCD. So example, we have Tom met Mary when he was returning from the market. These are two sentences all together. Tom met Mary when he was returning from the market. Now, the sentence above has two clauses. Thus, Tom met Mary, that is the main clause. Then also, when he was returning from the market is a subordinate clause. So the first sentence is a main clause because it makes a complete meaning. But the second clause or the second sentence does not make a complete meaning, and hence subordinate clause. So the second sentence is a subordinate clause because it does not make meaning. It definitely rely on the main clause to derive its meaning. When is the subordinator joining sentence 1 and 2 together? Hope it is clear. Right. Example 2. She studied hard so that she can pass the exams. She studied hard so she can pass the exams. Then example 3. After the rain had stopped, we set off. Note: the underlined clauses are subordinate or dependent clauses. So if you say something is subordinate, it means that it's dependent. Now, the underlined clauses are subordinate clauses or dependent clauses, and the ununderlined ones are the independent or main clauses, respectively. So in a second example, we saw that the word underlined there is so that she can pass the exams. So that she can pass the exams. Then also the third one is after the rain has stopped. So the underlined sentences are the subordinate or dependent clauses, respectively. So that and after are the subordinates in the sentence 1 and 2, respectively. So that she can. So that there is the subordinative conjunction, and the third sentence after is your subordinative conjunction. Good. Now let's look at some examples of a subordinator, or some examples of subordinative clauses. Now we have since, we have while, we have until, we have although, we have though, we have as though, we have if, we have rather, we have than, okay, rather than, we have unless, whether, once, whenever, before, in order that, because, after, however, and etc. These are some of the examples of the subordinators or subordinative conjunctions that link one grammatical unit to another. Thank you. Now I think we'll meet next week, God willing, for another discussion. Stay tuned. God bless you.